Andretti, one of the greatest names in racing. The elder Mario Andretti has won just about everything there is to be won, including Indianapolis.
Mario Andretti, winner of the 1969 500-mile race.
Looking to add to the Andretti legacy, a new generation took up the chase, led by eldest son Michael. He became an open-wheel champion, but also felt heartbreak here at the Brickyard.
Suddenly the car slows and Michael appears to be done.
Michael Andretti will end his career winless at the Indianapolis 500.
Victory at Indy found Michael as a team owner last season, and now he's coming out of retirement to race side by side with his 19-year-old son.
I want to be the first person to say that I've driven on my father in the same team and now my son.
The moment has arrived. A third-generation Andretti joins the chase. Marco Andretti comes to Indy looking to continue the legacy of a legendary name. Father, son, and grandson. Today, SportsCenter at the Indianapolis 500 visits with the Andretti family.
Welcome to SportsCenter, presented by Weber Grills at the Indianapolis 500.
We welcome you to a very special edition of SportsCenter at the Indianapolis 500, along with IndyCar expert Scott Goodyear. I'm Jerry Punch, and it's really a pleasure to be welcoming the Andrettis, one of the winningest drivers in the history of open-wheel racing, Michael Andretti, and of course, IndyCar Series rookie Marco Andretti. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
On Sunday, May 7th, the track officially opened with a ceremonial first lap involving all three generations of Andrettis. And Michael, what was it like to have your father and your son on either side of you on this racetrack on opening day?
That was a very special moment for sure. You know, I think in my career I've been able to experience a lot of special things beyond just the racing, and it's the family aspect of it. And you know, this was one of those days. You know, to have Marco on my left and my dad on my right, it's pretty cool.
Marco, what does it mean for you to have your dad come out of retirement so both of you can race here at the Indianapolis 500?
I think it's great, and I think you know, especially just because I know he's ready, and I know he's the kind of person where, you know, if there's any question of even him coming back, he was right on to doing what he needs to do, and that's the thing, is he knows what he needs to do, and that's what I'm trying to learn.
Let's talk about the month of May for both you guys. Michael, physically and mentally, what's been the biggest challenge for you getting back in the car this month?
Truthfully, I mean, it hasn't been bad. I started working out and getting myself in shape all the way back in October because I had a good idea that that's what I was going to be doing. So I was definitely ready. Mentally, I think the first day when we had to practice, opening practice here, I was a little nervous because I didn't know exactly what to expect. But after the first laps, I was like, oh, it feels like old days. And so it's been great. I've been really happy, really comfortable with the race car all month long. And I really think we have a potential winner in the Jim Beam Bonnage car. I really do. Contrary to what you said.
You've caught that, have you? Marco, you're hoping to qualify for your first 500 this weekend. We've had a lot of rain in the first week. How does that affect your preparation to get ready for this event?
No, it definitely does, but I have to look at it like it affects everybody's, you know. I think maybe if I was watching everybody run, I'd be going crazy, but, you know, everybody's sitting on the sidelines with me, so that's how I need to look at it. But, you know, I think as well that, you know, the NYSC boys put together a good car, and I think hopefully we just need to make a comfortable one to make sure that you know, that I'm able to bring home.
Well, Marco Andretti's Indy 500 debut comes with a surprise return. After 3 years of being away from active competition, Michael Andretti returns to the driving seat, hoping to capture the one victory that has eluded him his entire career. Neil Everett has more.
There's a little bit of unfinished business that I have at the racetrack. I still want to win the Indianapolis 500.
Michael Andretti will end his career winless at the Indianapolis 500.
42 open-wheel wins as a driver, back-to-back IRL championships as an owner. Last year, he saw his car and his driver taste the milk of Indianapolis, but Michael Andretti still wants a sip of his own.
Yeah, I've thought about it, and, you know, I think I'd like to do it and like to feel it.
Andretti joins former 500 winners Eddie Cheever and Al Unser Jr. in a return to Indy after years out of the seat. But there is a special meaning to his comeback.
My reason is way different than anybody's because of Marco. I mean, that's what prompted it. If it wasn't for that, I would not be here.
For 19-year-old Marco Andretti, his first trip to Indianapolis is a family tradition passed down. Marco will learn and race wheel to wheel with his father, just as Michael and his father Mario did before him. The next generation joining the family quest at a place that has often been the family's bane.
An unbelievable turn of events. The man who has dominated this race on the 189th lap. Suddenly the car slows and Michael appears to be done.
I've grown up here, you know, a month out of the year, every year of my life. I've been here, and my family's been trying to win it my whole life. I hear everything he says. Look at his accomplishments. I mean, I'd be foolish not to. Look at it now. I mean, I feel his pain. I mean, and every race I was right there with him driving. You want him to do so well, and I think it's the same with him watching me.
The entire Andretti Green team has its eyes on its owner this May, and they feel the entire field should. They say when their boss broached the idea of a return to Indy, it was Michael's eyes that said he meant business.
He said, I want to win the race. And he said it with such conviction that I thought, okay, right. And he said, I want to race with Marco too, but I want to win that race.
I always felt like when he stopped, you know, he was still super competitive, and especially at a place like this where the experience he has is so valuable, that, you know, there was more on the table he could do.
It's a family that it's all about racing. I felt it was pretty good, and it was a good idea. And it's one more guy that I'm going to have to worry about because he's still very, very fast.
He wants to win this thing, and if he gets that little bit of luck that he's been looking for every other time out, I think it's very possible.
I would not be in a race if I didn't think I could win it. That's why I was happy to retire the way I did, because I knew I could still win. And I feel especially after driving again and all that, I know I can win it. If I'm given the right opportunity with the right team, with the right car, I know I can win it, and there's no question.
Michael Andretti has made 14 previous starts here at the Brickyard, and although he has yet to win here as a driver, he has led a total of 426 laps, just 3 laps fewer than 4-time Indy 500 winner Rick Mears. His best finish was second to Mears in 1991, but his most impressive performance and arguably biggest disappointment came on a chilly day in 1992, when he led 160 laps only to have the car roll to a stop with just 10 laps to go. And Michael, we've certainly known you've experienced your share of hardship here at this place. Is it just bad luck, or do you feel there really is an Andretti curse at Indy?
I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in that. It just was never meant to happen. You know, we were talking about I won 7 races at Toronto. Why Toronto? You know, I don't race there any better than in some other places. It's just, it seemed like it worked out for me there, you know, and it's just the way it is. And, you know, maybe there's been a script in this thing the whole time, and maybe it's doing it now, you know, coming back. Who knows?
Marco, you've seen all the disappointment that your father's lived through here at Indianapolis. What was it like for you to finally see him in victory circle last year with Danny Weldon?
Yeah, it was definitely special, but you know, I think it for me, I don't know about for him, but for me it'd be different as a driver. I mean, definitely, you know, owning the team, and now I guess we can say that the curse is broke, but you know, I don't think this place owes me anything, but you know, it was very, you got a taste of it, but yeah, I think it would be different for our family.
All right, still ahead. It's tough enough being a rookie on the IndyCar Series, but what's it like when your last name happens to be Andretti? We'll go all access with Marco Andretti when SportsCenter at the Indianapolis 500 continues. Stay with us.
SportsCenter, presented by Weber Grills at the Indianapolis 500. Brought to you by Weber, making the world a better place, one grill at a time.
Patience, but I think he's got so much experience around him between his 3 other teammates, his dad and his grandpa. I mean, he's going to have a lot of information coming in, and if he can harness that and use it to his advantage, I think he'll do quite well.
Take it lap by lap. the advice that I got from some of the veterans was just, you know, don't take this place for granted and respect it, and that's what I did.
I don't think that Marco would be in the car if he wasn't capable of it. You know, he is definitely the guy to do that job, and in years to come you'll see how successful he's going to be.
Well, Marco, this racetrack does offer many challenges. What's the best piece of advice you've been given so far?
To be honest, the biggest advice and the thing that they always say is you know what to do, you know, because a lot of times, you know, at this level you can't teach a lot of it, you know, you need to, if you're still being taught, I mean obviously you're a rookie, you're going to learn a lot, but if you're still being taught some of the basics and stuff like that, like there I looked a little wide, but you know, no,
speaking of which.
Exactly, but no, you know, just after the fact we talk about a lot of stuff.
Michael, you watched Marco go through the ranks from go-karting all the way through training cars, but there was a time when he stopped. He walked away from motor racing. What was it like when he came to you and said that he was quitting?
Well, actually, I think I prompted that. You know, he was still very young, and he wasn't having fun, and I just saw the pressure in his eyes. You know, he was winning, but he wasn't having fun, and I told him, you need to stop, and he took me right up on it. And then when he came back to me, I could tell, but I said, you know, you need to stop because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're not doing it for yourself, and you're definitely not having fun. And then when he came back to me, I said, you know, you got to do those two things. You promised me those, well, we're behind you. And he's been a different person ever since.
Well, Marco, what made you ultimately decide to go back to Dad and say, okay, now I want to go race?
Just purely missing it because, you know, when I was out of it, it's like, this is what I was born to do. Like, and when the biggest thing was them supporting me quitting, and when they said, okay, you don't have to do it, it's like, you know, I had to come back and I had to do it because that's just, you know, I felt like I can come back and do it for me.
Well, even with the famous name, Marco Andretti is still a 19-year-old rookie. In April, we took to the streets of St. Petersburg for an all-access look at how this third-generation Andretti is trying to make a name for himself.
IndyCar Series rookie, driver in the number 26 NYSE Dallara Honda Firestone, Marco Andretti.
Do you believe this? I mean, when did you graduate from high school?
Last year. I drove over last night from a relaxing day at my grandfather's condo. It was good because I just, you know, I say I got a day away from it, but I was on the cell phone all day talking about racing. But it was a relaxing, low-key day, and it's sort of what I needed to get in the right mindset for this weekend.
It's all learning. People like him are going to do something stupid like that.
But it was an on-purpose deal.
Well, he wasn't going to give you the corner because he's 51 years old and he's not going to let some 19-year-old kid come around him no matter what.
It's a spot where it's very easy to pass cars back and forth. I probably passed a few today and got passed a few times. You know, I had already turned into the corner. I was holding my line, wasn't too much to the right, too much to the left, and I think he just clipped the side of my car and went up in the air.
You don't understand. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
All right, I don't understand.
No, this is Eddie Cheever. No, this isn't a normal guy. That's what I mean.
No, but, I mean, here's the thing.
It's our fault. Like, we should have told you, beware of Eddie, because he's done that to me a million times.
As the weekend progresses, I think he'll be more and more aggressive, much more into his zone, and I look for him to do really a good race here. There's no reason why he shouldn't, and if he makes it to the end, he'll have acquired a wealth of experience.
Second race as a pro today.
Yeah, well, the first race was last week, which we dropped out right in the beginning, so basically I haven't really raced yet.
Wow, that's exciting, huh? Give this man some luck today now. Come on, come on.
A rookie this season in the IRL IndyCar Series. From Nazareth, Pennsylvania, you know the last name well. Let's hear it for rookie Marco Andretti.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
Green flag, starter, green flag.
And you hear it, the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg is green. One of the three passing zones. Boy, Marco is not giving up. And there's contact. There's contact between the two.
Whoa, we just broke the shaft again. All right, flip the clutch.
I just broke the dry shaft because, I mean, I let off the clutch, I guess, too quick. But, I mean, I was consciously thinking about it, not, you know, to make sure I slipped the clutch, but obviously not enough.
Marco, you're a rookie in this series, and you made a few expected mistakes, as all rookies do, but what's the toughest thing that you've had to learn so far about driving these high-horsepower Indy cars?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, there's so much. I don't even know where to start. I mean, it's just you learn something every time out there. That was one of them, too. You can't pass before the start, and also you can't you know, dip two wheels under the white line when you're passing somebody. But, you know, every time out we learn something, and that's, you know, that's something about being a rookie, is by the end of this year you better have all your problems taken care of and out of the way, but hopefully just not in the races. It's unfortunate that it's happened in the races, but you know, I still have a lot to learn.
Michael, you have two important roles in Marco's life. On the one hand, you're his car owner, but on the other hand, you're his father. How do you balance the two and keep Marco focused on what he has to do?
Well, I think I'm pretty much doing my thing. I think, and I'm just there to help him if he needs it. You know, there's been times where I've seen them going a little bit the wrong direction. I try to bring him back in, and just because of my experience. And you know, one example was we put him in my race car, just because I knew I had a really good race car, and I know he was not happy with his. And he got in and he's like, oh, okay, now he knows. You know, and those are the things that, you know, you can't teach. He's got to experience it and feel it, and you know, I was able to give him that feel, so it was good.
On the one hand, you want to pat him on the back and say nice job. On the other hand, you want to pop him on the forehead and say stop breaking axles.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. No, those are just things that he's learning experience.
Still ahead, he's a father, a grandfather, and a racer at heart. He's the patriarch of the Andretti family. We'll discuss Mario Andretti's relationship with both his son and his grandson when SportsCenter at the Indy 500 continues.
Welcome back to SportsCenter, presented by Weber Grills at the Indianapolis 500.
It appears as if he is going to make it. He's in corner number 9, the final corner on the racetrack. He comes off the 9th corner. The car is a little slow coming off the corner. He's out of fuel. He is out of fuel, dropping to the inside. And here comes the finish line. Who's going to win it? I think it's impossible to say at this point who won the race.
It looks like Mario. Do you want to say anything to your dad right now on national television?
Well, happy Father's Day, Dad.
What a special Father's Day that was, 1986, when Mario Andretti edged his son Michael at Portland. Now, Michael, share with us, if you would, just a moment, how the relationship with your dad Mario grew and evolved throughout your racing career.
Well, I mean, that was a nice present I gave him. I mean, I was a very generous son. No, it just got better. I mean, at that time, that was 86 and 89, we became teammates, and I think those were probably the most fun I had, those 4 years that we were teammates from 89 to 92, and you know, for me, that's where I had a lot of my best success as well, and it was just really special times then.
And Marco, your grandfather has also played a huge role in your life. What has he meant to you both on and off the track?
It's huge. You know, everything we talk about, even off the track, say we go to dinner back home and not even in the race season, we're talking about racing. So, you know, we definitely have a great relationship when it comes to that, and he, you know, he loves to be a part of it and help as much as he can, and you know, he's definitely there to help, and I'm fortunate that he's in my corner, that's for sure.
Michael, what do you see in Marco that reminds you of your dad?
Actually, a lot of things. I think he's in some ways a lot more like my dad than me. I think he likes more being out and all of it, and you know, I was more like always hiding. You know, you know, Dad and Marco are a little different in that way. So I mean, a little bit the same like that. So that's good.
And Marco, what part of the personality did you take from your dad, and what characteristics do you think you have from your grandfather?
I don't know if I can answer this with him sitting next to me, but no, I don't know. I mean, hopefully the best of both worlds. I don't really sit back and think, you know, that I'm like either or, but you know, hopefully, you know, like I said, that you know, if my career is just half or three-quarters as good as theirs, I think I'm doing pretty good. You know, that's what I look at. I definitely look up to them, even if they weren't my father and grandfather. I think I would look up to them as awesome race car drivers.
Well, still ahead, we're not done with the Andrettis just yet. When we come back, we ask who is the best Andretti of all time, and the answer may surprise you. Stick around.
SportsCenter, presented by Weber Grills at the Indianapolis 500. Brought to you by Weber, making the world a better place, one grill at a time.
Please note a special time for Wednesday's show. SportsCenter in Indianapolis comes your way 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Max Pappas has been named the second driver for Team Cheever, and P.J. Jones will be aboard the Curb Records car as a second entry for Team Leader Motorsports. He'll be Stefan Gregoire's teammate. Now, time, gals, for a couple of quick questions. Marco, this first question is for you.
My question for Marco is, would you like to see your dad win, or would you rather win the 500 this year?
Marco, what do you think? If you had to pick between you and your dad, final lap, who would you rather see win it, yourself or this guy?
That's the question of the day. We always get asked that, and I think it would be a victory for both of us, whatever would happen. But you know, I heard what my grandfather said, and I have to agree that this is his last shot at it. And you know, but I also have to look at his career and say that I better take advantage of every opportunity I have too, because you know, a lot can happen. But I think it would be a family victory no matter which way it goes.
Okay, before we go, guys, we have one final question. Now, we posed this question to Mario Andretti a couple of days ago on a previous show. Take a listen.
Mario, settle this for us now. When all is said and done, who was the best Andretti driver in the family?
Well,
you won the bet.
Not really. I think it'll probably turn out to be Marco, in my opinion, ultimately.
So, guys, who is the best Andretti in the family? Michael, we'll start with you first.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good. The guy who has the most passion is my dad. There's nobody that's ever had in history of the sport. But I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at his record, I guess speaks for itself, right?
In a different era, yeah. Marco, just a quick thought on you. Who do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. But I think me as well, that I just have the passion for it. You know, I'm yet to really prove myself like these guys, but you know, that's definitely my goal.
And this weekend, this race, this month of May, Michael, could we see you back next year?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm so wrapped up in it this year. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. We'll evaluate all that later.
Well, gentlemen, we truly appreciate you taking time to come and share a little family history with us. Marco, good luck in qualifying this weekend. And Michael, we certainly hope that this final Indy 500 delivers all the memories of a lifetime you've been waiting for.
Appreciate that.
Well, they truly are one of open wheel racing's first families. And it all began some 4 decades ago with the motorsports magic of a man named Mario. The elder Andretti won it all, and then proceeded to teach his sons and eventually his grandson the value of the chase, along with the courage and commitment it took to be the very best. One legendary family with a storied history, and many believe the best is yet to come. A day with the Andrettis. So long, everyone, from Indianapolis Motor Speedway.